How's it going, everybody? This is Dominic Minchella. I am the Kansas City Chiefs co-beat writer for On SI and the host of the Kansas City Chiefs Insider Podcast. Thank you guys so much for stopping in today. Today, we're going to dive into three players on the Kansas City Chiefs who need to step up and improve in Week 15 against the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs are in a pretty disappointing spot when you ask, or at least going into the expectations this season. Definitely thought that things were going to be a lot better. However, the reality is that the Chiefs sit at 6-7 as a record, and the AFC West is no longer obtainable. But you know what it is? There's still a slim little hope for the playoffs. And it starts with beating the Chargers. If you want to know the whole scenario on how the Kansas City Chiefs can get into the playoffs, be sure you check out my podcast from the other day where I break it down very well, courtesy of Sports Illustrated. Also, or rather, moving on, there's three guys that need to step up, in my opinion, in order for this Kansas City Chiefs team to get a victory over the Chargers. And specifically, three players who did not perform very well against the Texans in Week 14. Now, the Texans did beat the Chiefs 20-10, and the offense was very pitiful. It wasn't nothing really kind of stood out to you. There wasn't a whole lot of X factors. I will say that the defense was pretty much as advertised. They tried their best to keep things as close as possible, but at the end of the day, the Houston Texans are riding their hot streak, and they just have a better team. They had a better team that day, and they definitely showed it. But to start off, the three players who need to step up if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive, it resides in the leader veteran on the team in Travis Kelce. In Week 14, Travis Kelce had one reception in 5 targets. His longest reception and his only reception was for 8 yards. There was also a very big play where Patrick Mahomes seemed to have found Travis Kelce, but the ball slipped right through his fingers into a defender's arm for the Texans. A lot of momentum killings this season for the Kansas City Chiefs. A lot of inconsistencies. And as of late, Travis Kelce has not been the guy to really be reliable. Whether it could be his age catching up to him, or it's just things aren't working as well as they used to. Since the game against the Denver Broncos, Travis Kelce hasn't seen any more than 45 receiving yards in those games. And multiple have been, he's had 10 receptions over the last 3 games. And they haven't necessarily been a lot of big plays. The one reception and 5 targets just doesn't seem like Travis Kelce. And if the Chiefs do want to win this game against the Chargers, will they do so at home? And they have a good record on the road, at Arrowhead this season. I think that Travis Kelce is a player that if he's on, the rest of the offense is going to be on. But you've got to know that the Chargers defense is going to be on them like a hawk, especially Travis Kelce, knowing that he's been a weaker component on the offense that they're trying to get going. Kelce, on the other hand, needs to be the veteran presence that he has always been. And while his prime is well past him at this point, when the offense does flow through him, things tend to work out. Additionally, on the offensive side of the football, a player that I'm looking for to step up is Hollywood Brown, and not necessarily like a step up position when it comes to his involvement. I just think that a lot of the Hollywood Brown receptions and targets have very much lessened since Rashee Rice came back. If you remember, Hollywood Brown was a key wide receiver for the Chiefs to begin the season, but as of late, he hasn't really done a whole lot that gets fans out of their seats. A lot of one receptions. His most receptions in the second half has been 4, and it came against the Denver Broncos. And when he does have his receptions, he is getting it for 10 or more yards, meaning he is very productive in what he's doing. He's also on the 1-year deal. Going into free agency, Hollywood Brown should definitely be a player. If he can find his way to get open, I think that Patrick Mahomes should target him. Keep in mind his best game this season came back in week 1 against the Chargers, where he had 99 receiving yards in 10 targets. He has yet to see, 10 receptions. He has yet to see double-digit receptions and target since. In fact, his best game came against the Buffalo Bills back in week 9 in 2 receptions, 4 targets. He had 73 receiving yards. I think the Hollywood Brown has a really strong chance at being a big key factor for the Kansas City Chiefs in this game against the Chargers, knowing and hopefully feeding off of his week 1 success over in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And lastly, a third guy that I'm looking to have a bigger game is Kareem Hunt. I've kind of moved my focus. I was debating between either running back between Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, but I personally think that Kareem Hunt is the player to watch and formulate the running game around. A lot of fans were displeased with how Isaiah Pacheco performed against the Houston Texans, where he had 9 carries go for 30 yards. But additionally, Kareem Hunt had 12 carries go for 30 yards. While he did score a touchdown, and he has been the kind of guy to get an inch over 2 big moments for the Chiefs in scoring in short gains, a lot of the big rushes haven't been his forte. I'm not saying that he has to be explosive in these games, but he's got to really make his carries count. He hasn't seen over 100 rushing yards since he done so against the Indianapolis Colts, and he did so in 30 carries. What a difference maker that was, because since then he had 58 rushing yards against the Dallas Cowboys and 30 rushing yards against the Houston Texans. I do think that if the running game is established with Kareem Hunt, it will take a lot of pressure off of Patrick Mahomes having to scramble away from all defenders coming his way. And I think that knowing that the defense has been as strong against, a team like the Chargers, whose offensive line is not tremendous, I think that it's going to be another offensive game if the Chiefs are going to want to win this. The defense is going to keep it close, but at the end of the day, offense is going to have to step up. And I think that those 3 players are key guys to watch. Be sure you follow me over on X at Dom Minchella. Post and repost every single day. You're not going to want to miss any coverage of the Kansas City Chiefs while we go into Week 15. You can also follow us over at KC Chiefs on SI. On X and Facebook, everything gets posted there. You're not going to want to miss anything, because Kansas City Chiefs on SI is the place to get Kansas City Chiefs news. As always, folks, be kind to one another. I'll see you tomorrow.